I haven't slept properly in half a year, not since the night they carried Mrs. Ellery's body out of her apartment in a zipped black bag. She lived alone. She was quiet. Sometimes she baked too much bread and left warm slices at my door. And sometimes, late at night, she screamed. Everyone in the building got used to it. Her night terrors, the doctors called them. But the night she died, the screaming stopped. And that's when the real nightmare started. Full story. I still remember the exact moment they wheeled her body past my door. It was 2:17 a.m., a time I shouldn't have been awake, but after living next to Mrs. Ellery for 3 years, you learn to expect screams at any hour. That night was different. No screams, no tossing and turning through the thin wall we shared, just silence. I stood in the hallway in my slippers, arms wrapped around myself as the paramedics passed. One of them muttered something about cardiac arrest. Another shook his head and whispered, "She must have died terrified. Look at her hands." I didn't need to look. The shape beneath the body bag said enough. Her fingers were curled tight, like she'd grabbed onto something in her last moment. They left, the elevator doors closed, and I was alone in the hall. Or at least, I thought I was. The first night after, when I finally went back inside, I expected the usual. The uneasy quiet after one of her episodes. But something felt wrong. The air in my apartment felt heavier, like I was walking through water. I locked the door, took a breath, and pressed my ear to the wall. Habit, I guess. 3 years of hearing her nightmares makes you do things without thinking. Nothing. Just the soft hum of my refrigerator. I tried to sleep. I really did. But at 3:04 a.m., just as I started drifting off, I heard it, a fingernail tapping on the wall. 1, 2, 3, slow, deliberate. Right where her bedroom lined up with mine. I shot upright. My heart hammered. "Hello?" I whispered, instantly regretting it. The tapping stopped. Silence again. I didn't sleep that night, or the night after. Her apartment was supposed to be empty. 2 days after her death, management taped a notice on her door. No one was allowed inside until her relatives came. But the strange noises didn't care about that. Every night, somewhere between 2:30 and 3 a.m., something happened. Sometimes it was tapping. Sometimes a low dragging sound, like someone pulling their feet across the floor. Sometimes it was humming, soft, trembling humming that sounded almost like a lullaby, the kind Mrs. Ellery used to hum when the nightmares stopped. Except, her apartment was empty. At least, it was supposed to be. The night I saw the lights, on the 5th night after she died, I stepped into the hallway again. It was late. I hadn't slept. My nerves were frayed. I don't know what I expected. Maybe I hoped someone else heard what I did. But the hallway was empty, silent, still, except for her door. The light underneath it flickered. Just once. Just enough to see the shadow of feet moving past. I froze. Mrs. Ellery's relatives weren't due for another week. Management had the only key. No one should have been in there. No one alive, anyway. The light blinked again. This time, I heard the scrape of furniture, like a chair being dragged across hardwood. Then, a soft, shuddering wail. Not a scream, not the sharp, panicked cry she used to make. This was low, broken, almost like someone mourning. I backed away slowly until my shoulders hit the opposite wall. And still, the shadows under her door moved. I should have moved out. People tell me that all the time. Friends, co-workers, even my mother. You should have left. They say, you should have grabbed your things and gone. But the truth is, the building was all I could afford. And a part of me, the stupid, curious part, wanted to understand what was happening. Why the noises always started at the same time. Why they sounded like her. Why I was the only one who heard them. Or maybe I just didn't want to believe the alternative. That something had followed me. That something had been trying to get my attention. The night she spoke, it was exactly 3:12 a.m. I remember because I stared at my digital clock while it happened. I had been awake for hours, lying on my back, eyes wide open, listening to every creak in the building. The tapping on the wall started again. But this time, it didn't stop. It got faster, rhythmic, like she was trying to form a pattern. Then came the whisper, "Are you awake?" My blood ran cold. It came from the wall, from her side. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. "Please." The voice croaked. "It's dark." I slammed my palms over my ears. I squeezed my eyes shut, but the voice didn't fade. It's so dark in here. I can't see. The tapping on the wall turned to pounding. Let me out. It got faster, rhythmic, like she was trying to form a pattern. Then came the whisper. R. Her door creaked softly as it moved with the draft. Inside, everything was dark, but I could see the outline of her kitchen table, the one where she'd kneaded dough for the bread she left me, and sitting on it was a single slice of bread, still warm, steam rising from it, just like always. I whispered, Mrs. Ellery. Footsteps. The floorboards inside groaned, slow, uneven, coming toward me. Then the humming started, that same lullaby. The one I'd heard through the wall 100 times. My hands were trembling so hard I could barely keep my phone steady as I used its flashlight. The beam lit the doorway fully now. The smell hit me first, damp earth, rot, and something metallic. Then I saw her, or what was left of her. Her head peeked around the corner, twisted too far to the left. Her eyes were wide, unblinking. Her jaw hung low, like it was unhinged, and her fingers, those curled, claw-like fingers, dragged along the wall as she moved. She took one step toward me, then another. Her voice gurgled out, wet and gravelly. You left me alone. I stumbled back, tripping over my own feet, sprinting to the stairs. I never stopped running. I never went back. Now, it's been 6 months since that night. I moved to another city, new apartment, new job, new everything. But every night at 3:12 a.m., I still hear it, tap, 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 on the wall beside my bed, slow, deliberate, sometimes followed by a whisper. It's dark in here. And every morning when I wake up, there's warm bread waiting by my door.